to overcome it. Okay, now tell me what is fear according to your understanding.
uh, that would always be with us.
Mm-hmm.
Fear of survival is the main thing that drives
Mm-hmm.
us to be safe and secure.
Mm-hmm. See,
It's like a double-edged sword.
mm-hmm.
That's what I understand. It
Okay,
will help us to be safe, and also it helps us, and but also it stops us from fulfilling. I mean, it's doing our reaching our potential.
okay. Let us say somebody has let's say $100,000, uh, and there is a possibility of him losing $10. Will there be fear in him?
No,
Okay, why?
losing everything, very little.
He
He
is
can
losing.
gain
He is losing very little, and he has more than what he thinks what is required for him.
more.
So fear comes from two mindset. One is I have something little. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
if I lose that, I lose everything.
Yes.
Okay, that is like if somebody has a $10 and there is a fear of losing $10, he'll be very afraid because that's all what he has. Compared to a man who is having $100,000, $100,000, losing $10 is not much. So the fear is if you have a mentality of shortage and limitedness, then there is a if there's a possibility of losing that, there is a fear. On the other hand, if you have abundance, if you have something infinite, then losing something doesn't make any difference at all. All right. So the question is, the fear is related to what do you think we have? The possibility of losing that causes fear in us. So what do we have?
So
What
I have to record it.
I am recording.
Okay.
What do you have? I mean, we have many things. Okay. I have my family, I have my husband, my wife, my children, I have a job. Okay. Then maybe a house, maybe a vehicle. I have many things. So now, if there is likely to lose any of these, there will be definite fear. Okay, fear of losing a job is there. People have that, right? And fear of losing a probably if I are not able to pay my mortgage for the house, I may lose the house. So there are many fears of losing what we have. So fear is about losing something what we have, right? Now, how do you reduce fear? By understanding that if I lose something, I can get something else, right? If that feeling is there, if that confidence is there, you will not have fear. If I lose a job, normally I can get some other job. May not be as good or bad. I may can get another job, right? So the fear of losing a job is definitely a fear. But if there is a possibility of getting another job, then the fear will be less. Now the possibility of getting another job is difficult. Then what will you do? There is something which you need to do. Probably you need to do reskill yourself. You need to find out what you can do to improve your skills and be ready to accept a job when it comes. So the fear can be minimized by finding out alternative. Is that possible to get? And if I have to possible to get, what I can do. So the fear is related always related to losing something. Reducing the fear related to finding out an alternative if I lose something, right? So that's what fear is about. Okay, that can be applied to house, that can be applied to job. So now all these are house, job, possession, husband, wife, children. All these are more related to what I have, right? What I can possess. Okay. So now what I can possess is also definitely I can lose and definitely causes fear. But then if I lose something, I can gain something else also. Right. So that reduces some amount of reduction. That reduces fear. Now then comes something more closer to me. I have a body. Now the body can become old, the body can become body, I can have pain, body I can have suffering, okay, I can become aged. So the body what I have, I can lose the shape and form what I have. So this is a fear which we can have, which is natural because body itself will go through some natural process of aging, right? So then something deeper is inside there, closer to the body than the body is the mind. So mind is the one which creates the fear. Okay. Now the fear can be more subtle. Oh, if somebody comes to know of what I'm doing, losing the name. So it's more closer to, it's not the body, it's not the mind, but it's not the body, it's not the possession, but losing your identity in some form and shape, right? In you have heard of many times people kill somebody else because they dishonor the family. So the dishonoring the family or dishonoring the name, it's all related to more subtle aspects of life. What I have and what I consider as important. Okay. So this is what is actually fear is about. Having something and losing it. The having something and losing it can be categorized as, first is what I have, which means I have my possessions. So second thing is what I have body, what is me, which is body. And third is a subtle aspect, what I think is important, valuable, maybe name, fame, whatever is that, identity. In other words, the fear is about losing an identity is a greater fear compared to losing a position. So fear is always about losing something, what I have. Now the fear is also, some amount of fear is natural because that in we have to survive in life. If there is no fear, probably the survival chances can get reduced because you do fearlessly so many things. Let's say if somebody wants to drive a vehicle, he may drive it 150 miles per hour and damage himself. Somebody has no fear of law. It can there be no fear of law, then he can cause damage to others. So some amount of fear is required for society functioning. Some amount of fear is required for your survival as a body mind complex. Now this is built into nature. The fear can get exaggerated. Fear can increase. Some people have extraordinary fear, which they call as phobia. For example, somebody looking at a cockroach may start screaming and crying, while the cockroach itself is a very harmless creature. Somebody may have a phobia of a dog. Looking at the dog, the person may start screaming or barking more than a dog. Somebody may have a phobia of a height, fear of height, right? So these are different called phobia, or their abnormalities compared to a normal degree of fear. Now, what happens in this abnormality or phobia is the object of fear gets magnified in the mind. So somebody has a fear of cockroach. The cockroach itself, the threat possessed by threat provided by the cockroach gets magnified in the mind. So to reduce this, there are many techniques how you can remove that. There is something called neuro linguistic programming. There is some psychiatric counseling. All those things you can reduce the abnormal fear or phobia. But if you look at all these, the fear or phobia all are related to a loss of identity in one form or other, the body. And also initially, if I told you, I told you, if you have in abundance, you will not be afraid. If you have only limited, you will be afraid. So you have only one body and which is limited. You have mind and name which is limited. The loss of that can cause fear. So the only way to overcome this fear is to understand and realize that I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am pure consciousness. So then, and the consciousness is always infinite. Consciousness is not born, consciousness no death. Consciousness nature is always peace and love. So if I am that consciousness, having a body or no body, it doesn't make a difference. It's like somebody having $100,000, he doesn't bother about $10. When you attain the abundance of consciousness, then whatever you have, whatever you don't have, doesn't make a difference. So the realization that I am consciousness, ನಾನೆಂಬುದು ನಾನಲ್ಲ, ಈ ದೇಹ ಮನಬುದ್ಧಿ ನಾನಲ್ಲ, ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದಾತ್ಮ ಶಿವನಾನು ನಾನೇ, ಶಿವೋಹಂ ಶಿವೋಹಂ, I am of the nature of pure consciousness, Shiva. So this realization removes the fear from the mind. So that's the only solution. There's no other solution for removing the fear.